Diomaye Faye was once the Lion of Senegal, his roar echoing across Dakar and the Sahel. He was a firebrand, a young leader whose voice crackled with defiance against France, promising economic freedom and true sovereignty. His words ignited a generation tired of waiting for change, casting him as a liberator. But then, the lion's roar softened. Faye, once a fierce critic of French influence, began speaking of partnership and cooperation. He met with leaders he'd called colonizers, smiled for cameras, and adopted a calm, measured tone. The transformation was so sudden, it left the nation speechless. Whispers began after a mysterious trip to Europe. Faye returned changed, his attacks on French policies replaced by vague calls for balance. Supporters who had marched for revolution now felt uneasy. His rallies, once electric with hope and anger, became formal press conferences about global realities. The passion was gone, replaced by cold pragmatism. The lion who roared for revolution now purred like a diplomat. Senegal was left with one burning question. Why? Was this the same Faye who promised a revolution, or a new man shaped by unseen forces? The nation watched, confused as their champion's fire faded. The lion's transformation was undeniable, and the people demanded answers. Before his transformation, Diomaye Faye embodied the hopes of a frustrated generation. Senegal's youth saw wealth in oil and minerals, but their own lives remained unchanged. Unemployment was high, opportunities scarce. Leaders seemed more interested in foreign approval than serving their people. Faye gave voice to this anger, speaking plainly and directly to students, vendors, and workers. His message was simple. Political independence meant nothing without economic independence. He called out the CFA franc as a symbol of French control and promised to renegotiate unfair contracts. Faye's nationalist rhetoric resonated deeply, uniting a diverse generation under a banner of change. His rallies felt like festivals, filled with music, energy, and hope. Young people wore his face on t-shirts, painted murals, and believed in a future they could shape. Faye inspired them to believe in politics again, making government feel like it could finally belong to the people. He wasn't just a leader, he was the embodiment of their collective dream for a stronger, independent Senegal. For the first time in years, hope felt real. Faye's rise was a movement, not just a campaign. He promised a radical break with the past. The youth rallied behind him, ready for revolution, but the dream would soon be tested. Faye's message caught fire because it named a frustration simmering for decades. Senegal's independence in 1960 didn't break the old ties. French companies still dominated, and the elite looked to Paris. French influence was everywhere, in banks, contracts, even military bases. Faye tapped into this resentment, calling it modern colonization. He used simple analogies. Senegal as a house, run by an overstaying guest, farmers forced to sell peanuts at prices set in Paris. His words spread because they felt true, articulating a reality millions live daily. Faye didn't just criticize, he painted a vivid picture of a new Senegal, processing its own resources and trading with Africa, not just France. His vision was about empowerment, not just resistance. The hope he offered was intoxicating. His message went viral because it promised dignity and self-reliance. Faye told Senegal they could stand on their own 2 feet. The people believed him. The turning point came during an unannounced trip to Europe. In a discreet Pittsburgh hotel, Faye met not with politicians, but with global economists and banking executives. The press wasn't invited. What happened inside remained secret. Insiders say it was an intervention. Faye was shown the brutal realities of global finance. Charts and simulations revealed that breaking ties with France would trigger economic collapse, investment gone, oil projects halted, supply chains shattered. Faye entered as a revolutionary, but left burdened by a terrible choice. The experts didn't threaten, they simply revealed the machinery of the world. The path of defiance now looked like a path to ruin. Faye returned to Senegal changed, the weight of that meeting heavy on his shoulders. His supporters sensed the shift but didn't know the cause. The firebrand was now a man haunted by what he'd seen. The revolution's course had been altered in a single secret meeting. The lion's roar would never sound the same. Back in Senegal, Faye's rhetoric cooled. Accusations against France gave way to talk of pragmatic partnerships and stable international relations. He insisted his goals hadn't changed, only his methods. Faye's government shifted from radical overhaul to quiet diplomacy, arranging high-profile meetings with French leaders. France agreed to hand back military bases, but new economic agreements tied the countries closer. The administration framed this as a strategic pivot. Confrontation had served its purpose. Now, it was time for cooperation. Ministers argued that investment and expertise were needed to build the new Senegal. Severing ties would be self-sabotage. Faye addressed the nation, asking for trust. A lion proves its strength by knowing when to hunt and when to wait. He promised jobs, infrastructure, and growth. But for many, his words rang hollow. The lion they knew had never spoken of waiting. The revolution's fire was replaced by cautious diplomacy. The people wondered if their dream was slipping away. The backlash was swift and brutal. Activists and young supporters felt betrayed. This wasn't the revolution they'd risked everything for. Social media turned on Faye. Faye's sold-out trended for weeks. Former allies denounced him. Memes mocked his new diplomatic tone. The hope that once filled Dakar curdled into cynicism and anger. Faye's government tried to explain true independence required a strong economy, and that meant foreign investment. He insisted he was buying time, not selling out. "You can't build a new house by burning down the old one with your family inside," he pleaded. But the emotional connection was broken. Critics argued compromise with injustice only deepened dependence. The rift between Faye and his base grew wider. He was no longer the voice of the people, but just another president making hard choices. The revolution's trust was shattered. Faye's movement was now divided and disillusioned. The real reason for Faye's transformation was hidden from the public. Leaked economic reports revealed Senegal was on the brink of financial crisis. Years of mismanagement and ironclad contracts left the nation dependent on French and European technology for its oil and gas. Breaking those contracts would mean billions in penalties and economic chaos. The dream of independence would die before it began. Faye faced an impossible choice: keep his promise or save his country from collapse. He chose survival, deciding to work with old powers to access resources and stabilize the economy. He planned to use new revenue to slowly build true independence from within. It was a painful, pragmatic decision. Faye knew it would cost him his reputation as a revolutionary. He buried the reports and pivoted toward diplomacy. The revolution's purity was sacrificed for Senegal's survival. Faye's new path split his government. His closest ally, Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko, refused to compromise, doubling down on radical promises. Sonko held massive rallies, positioning himself as the true guardian of the revolution. The movement now had two centers of power: Faye, the pragmatist, and Sonko, the hardliner. The public was divided. Should they follow the president's slow path or the prime minister's call for rupture? The government's agenda stalled as the two leaders fought for the nation's future. Faye courted moderates in business. Sonko fired up the base. The revolution was now a battle for Senegal's soul. The promised changes stalled. The nation was pulled in two directions, its future uncertain. Today, Senegal stands at a crossroads, and Diomaye Faye is at the center. Once a symbol of radical change, he's now the face of pragmatic compromise. Supporters believe he's playing a long game, using foreign resources to build true independence. Critics say he's been seduced by power, trading ideals for comfort. Is Faye a strategist, a survivor, or just another ruler who lost his way? The people watch and wait, caught between hope and reality. The lion's roar is now a whisper. Senegal's future and Faye's true legacy hang in the balance.